Hi everyone, and welcome back to KitbashCarnage. So today we're taking a look at part 2 of the Mish Mash sculptor that I'm basically doing based on his YouTube character. So as you can see here, I went ahead and I cast up a Chaos Space Marine possessed arm, kind of mutated arm. So this is basically going to be one of two of the Mish Mash wings that his character has. So if you have or have not seen already, Mish Mash's character has these kind of bony wings on the back of it. So in order to create them, we're going to try and cast these and just use a bit of improvisation with some Amaru. If you didn't know what Amaru is, it's basically like blue stuff. It basically is good for casting bits and different pieces of materials and being able to copy a specific bit or specific part that you want to use again and again. Using Amaru or blue stuff is the ideal purpose. If you want to know further details in how to use Amaru, take a look at the playlist on casting and molding. In that you'll find more details about how to do this. So as you see here, we just folded the second piece of Amaru onto the first half, creating our mold, and then we're going to leave this here in order to dry out. And after it dried out, we filled it with green stuff, and then this is what we have. So it's a rough kind of cast of the arm. We're going to make a second one of these, and this is going to be the two wings. So we have one of the wings, and then we're going to make a second one. Although it's going to be a mirrored version, we're probably going to kind of do our own take on this and flip them around and do other stuff in order to make them not look the exact same. Also, if you don't know what green stuff is basically a molded material. You can use this. It comes in a two-part kind of not A and B, but blue and yellow, or yellow and blue. Usually the center line where these two parts join becomes a little bit hard and the curing process has already started. So I tend to kind of cut this off, and I use this for just making little balls, or as you can see in the top of the screen there, there's a little bag full of different bits. I just roll the green stuff out into strands or into balls or different shapes, and when this hardens you can use it then for different kit bashes or different things. So it's basically, instead of throwing that away, you can use it. So when we've when we've mixed our green and our blue and yellow to make green stuff, that's the consistency you're kind of looking for. And then we're just going to put this onto our Milliput mold, our Milliput kind of sculpt, cast kind of mold. I really can't speak today. And then we're going to stick this on basically, and we're going to use this to cover the whole bottom half where we'll have trousers. And then we're going to go, after we make sure we have a good coverage, we're going to go and give in the final details. So as you see here, we're just using our fingers, using our hands just to basically mold this around the material. And I'm not really too fussed at the moment about coverage or fingerprints or anything like this, purely because we're going to go in after the fact with a molding tool, and we're going to take away all them fingerprints and creases and basically make it a little bit more neat and tidy. So as you can see, we're just using our finger just to kind of maneuver the green stuff around the Milliput, and then putting some bits here and there, adding and taking away where needed. We're basically just trying to get as thin of a layer as we can of the green stuff over the Milliput, just so we can stretch the actual material. We can stretch it out, like not use as much as we have here. It's expensive stuff, or it's not expensive. I don't really know, to be honest. I don't shop around too much. I tend to find what I need, and as long as it's in an alright price range, I just get it, because I have no time really to be shopping around too much. Yes, you may think it doesn't take too long, but believe it or not, I have no time. So my partner is sick and tired of me always saying I have no time, but it's the story of my life. Between working the amount of hours I do and then being able to do generic IRL stuff, I have barely any time throughout my day or throughout my week even to do stuff like this. So just doing it and getting it out of the way in one sitting is basically what I like to do. So certain projects like this that can take more than one sitting, but that's purely because of the curing process that green stuff and milliput and stuff like that takes. If it was instant cure, I'd probably get all this done in one day. Not to say it's going to be absolutely amazing, but I'd still get the project done. So here we are going back with our silicone molding tool or sculpting tool. So there's lots of different sculpting tools you can get in the market, or out in the market, or out there to buy, whatever the saying is. This is just a set that I got. I got 5 of these silicone headed tools off of, and this is not a sponsor, I know I mention it a lot, but off of Temu. Believe it or not, I got these 5 for, I think it was £2.99, which is a pretty good deal, you know. Silicone tools can be quite expensive, so for £2.99 plus postage and packaging, I find a really good deal for something just simple as this. It does the job and it's at a friendly cost. So yeah, as I said, not a sponsor, but you can't go wrong for $2.99 for 5 sculpting tools. So we're using the metal part of our sculpting tool here just to push the green stuff onto the actual milliput. So we're roughly going to force that down to create a good bond, and then using the silicone parts going around, making sure that every bit is connected. So as you can see here, we've just sped it up and we just made sure that all the green stuff is around. Basically it look like trousers, but this is where we go around with our silicone tip tool, flattening out all them fingerprints, making it look more like a fabric kind of, and less like fingerprints, and so you could tell it's green stuff, if that makes sense. So we'll go around smoothing all the surfaces out, making it look a bit more like a fabric, and then we'll go in with our metal piece or the rubber tip, sharper kind of pointed rubber tip silicone tool thing, and we'll just do some lines here, and that will give us the definition of the trousers. So as you've seen there, basically what I was doing was I was cleaning the silicone tip tool here. You can see a lot of milliput left on it. I tend to not really look after my equipment too well, hence the KitbashCarnage channel. Like this channel is called KitbashCarnage for a reason. It's full of carnage, whether that be not knowing names of tools, not knowing names of bits that we use to kitbash, making a mess of the projects, not doing projects right. It's all a bunch of carnage, and that's what I like about this channel. Is we're not here to have perfection. We're here to enjoy the making process, enjoy this hobby of ours, whether that be messing up and learning as we go, or whether that be just trying to get a project complete for the sake of having a project complete, take away from the many piles of incomplete projects. But this is not a channel for people if you wanted to be Mr. Perfect or anything like that. It's just where we come, enjoy our hobbies. We can talk to one another in the comments and let each other know some tips and tricks that we have found along the way, so on and so forth. So like I said, just trying to smooth out the surfaces, get as many fingerprints as we can out of the green stuff. So just rolling the silicone tool back and forth in our fingers, just trying to smooth out them surfaces. Get a general kind of smooth surface, but as you know, fabric really isn't as smooth unless it's lying flat on a flat surface. It generally isn't smooth. Your trousers that you're wearing right now, if you are wearing trousers, hopefully, look down right now and I bet you'll see a crease. Your trousers are not, unless you wear like suit trousers and you put you're ironing them straight to have that line and all that stuff in it. Well, then they're not completely straight, but a lot of trousers are just wavy. They have these little folds in them, so it kind of helps having this contrast of straightness, smoothness and folds, and it looks like a bit of movement in the fabric. Although you won't be able to really see underneath here, I really wanted to make sure that the green stuff had a really good bond on the milliput at this connection point here. since this is where the paperclip comes from, that is we use to hold the model while we're doing different things in different positions where we lean it against stuff. I wanted there to be a nice good bond. Also, I do apologize once again for the terrible camera workmanship. I'm still trying to figure it all out, you know. I probably will never be Mr. Amazing when it comes to the editing and stuff. I try spend what little time I do have to do the actual projects, and right now I am editing this video and doing a voiceover on my lunch break. Probably will have to redo this whole voiceover because there's kids in the background playing football, so I'll have to probably redo this all if you can't hear them. Or this is just an edited version of that voiceover, who knows. But thank you for bearing with me. 225 people have subscribed to this channel. I am absolutely amazed that 225 people want to listen and watch my absolutely craziness, my nonsense, and basically enjoy seeing what I do. Leave a comment below on anything you want to see. I've already taken a few suggestions. I have videos that are in the editing process on them suggestions, so stay tuned. You know who you are who mentioned what to do. I am editing them videos and they will come out shortly. So yeah, leave it in the comments, anything you want to see. We take it all on board, and whether we do it soon or later, it's all written down in the project book and it will all be done eventually. So this is where we go in with our silicone tool, and we just get the sharper end or the pointier end, and we just go around making the indentations or the details of basically where the trousers would be. So what we're doing here is the equivalent to the waistband. So we're just going right the way around, making sure that we have a nice thick line that's very prevalent. Is that the word? Prevalent? Noticeable to the eye. Just basically so when the green stuff hardens, you'll be able to see that after we paint and whatnot. So yeah. Now there's loads and many more easier ways to do this. You could simply get your hobby crafting knife and just score along it. You could get a paper clip. Pretty much anything to mark this line you can use. I like to use my silicone tip tool purely because if I was to sneeze, which I have plenty of times, not during this video but during other projects, and my tool was to hit off the green stuff, it wouldn't make as big of a gouge basically out of the green stuff. It would probably just push it down and we can manipulate that back into shape. But yeah, the reason I use my silicone tools as much as I do is purely because I've had incidences where I've done something simple as sneeze or put the project down and then accidentally leaned on it or something, you know, and using this silicone tool tends to remind me that to be careful. I don't know why, but because it's not just a paper clip or anything like that, it tells me in my head. Terrible camera workmanship once again. I do apologize about this, guys. Right now you're seeing a foot and an arm and my hands that are burnt to bits from this new job, but however, yeah, basically what we're doing is the crotch region there, so just making sure that you have your line that kind of goes up in between your two legs, that kind of separates the two trouser legs. This just gives the illusion of more of trousers. Without this line, it still looks like a pair of trousers, but like I said, this gives that more realistic, more detailed look or character, shall we say, to the pair of trousers. So trying to make sure that we have this line just kind of level all the way around. It's easier said than done when you're manipulating the figure or anything that you've done, you're rotating it. So just try and make sure you get your bearings and you're continuously doing that line in in a straight or in the rotation or in the angle. I really can't speak today, honestly. Basically, make sure that you're being careful, because once this is done and you leave it to cure, there ain't no going back until you either take it off or put more green stuff over the green stuff you've already done. But yeah, this is basically how far we got. I do apologise, it's not as long of a video as you probably wanted, but stay tuned for part 3, where we finish off the top of the Mish Mash, basically the Mish Mash sculpture, aye, and then we attach the wings, and then we will paint it up. So yeah, thank you very much for staying tuned for this long. Apologies for the terrible editing and camera workmanship and speaking, but I really appreciate each and every one of you for staying tuned on this journey of mine. Thank you, and make sure you stick around and hit that notification bell for part 3.